All right, everybody, we're going to do the horoscopes, and that lovely file sharing feature is still being glitchy. So we're going to see. I started this up a little bit early. Let's see if it gives us some time for that upload to work. It's a little frustrating because it worked the first time we tried. So we'll see what happens. So we have another interesting week ahead. We're heading towards the full moon on June 3rd, Saturday, June 3rd. We have the full moon. And I'll be talking about that on the podcast on Monday. And tonight is the full moon workshop. Okay. So if you're in the Patreon, we've got the full moon. We got people showing up in chat. Hello, Zach. It is an all day awake space day. Let me tell you. Started with coffee with Lori. It was so great to have all of you there that could make it. It was super awesome. Always love seeing everybody. And today we're doing, of course, our horoscopes for the week ahead. And a big thank you to the patrons who are putting timestamps in the comments so that it's just really easy for me to cut and paste and make those chapters. Now, I have a surprise for everybody with the horoscopes because I know some of you missed the writing. And so, again, in an effort to save eyeballs, I'm not going to write them the way I did, but I've made a fun and practical doohickey that doesn't take as much time, right? Oh, and you have Mystery School Annie's session today. Wow, it is a whole day of awake space. Yeah, eyeballs are very important. And so they're doing pretty good, guys. I've been going easier on them because I want them to last. I need these things. It's hard when you're a writer, so, but there's so much technology now that helps make it easy as well. All right, I'm going to see if the dang files uploaded. Let's see. It's still processing, it says. But they're uploaded. No, don't remove. Okay. We're closer than we were. So again, we're heading towards the full moon on the 3rd. It's at 13 degrees of Sagittarius, which is interesting. Now, remember, degrees don't have a divinatory meaning, but it's at 13. So it's almost midway through the sign. So this isn't like these other full moons have been revealing new pathways. This is kind of a midway through an existing goal, because Sagittarius is all about expansion, goals. Again, we lost Tina Turner this last week, and she'd been sick for a long time, and she wasn't afraid of the next part of her journey, which is always refreshing to hear. But if you listen to her old interviews, she would say things like, I was unwavering in my course. I stayed focused. Even when things were bad, I kept my eye on the goal. That's a hallmark of Sagittarius energy. And that's what we want to look for in this full moon. Staying the course, looking at the goals, maybe revising them, because sometimes we set goals, a long time ago when we think, only this much is possible. And maybe you've proved that to yourself, and now it's time to set a new goal or revise an existing goal. Maybe you need more resources to make it happen. And resources can be a lot of different things. It's not always money. Sometimes it's having technical support. Sometimes it's finding the right book, the right class, the right social support. There's all different ways we resource. Okay. And we often over focus on the financial aspect and miss that there could be a whole lot of other stuff that we need in between. So, maybe you think if you're in a toxic work environment, you just need to leave and go to another space, but there might be things we consider normal in our daily life that aren't supportive of us, and we have to switch our perspective and understand, what does support actually look like and feel like. I had a coach years ago, a business coach, and I'm talking like 15 years ago. This is a long time. And she asked me, she said, what does support look like to you? And I had to take a second. What did it look like? Because I was used to kind of powering through obstacles, and I was like, I don't know. maybe not having somebody in my way would be nice. And she says, well, that's not support. What does support look like and feel like? And it wasn't just about money. It was about having somebody I could trust to. It's a huge question. It's a very powerful question. And so those are the types of questions you want to ask yourself with going into this full moon. It's probably going to be a little crunchy as we head toward it, because remember, the full moon reveals. And so stuff is going to be up to be seen, viewed, revealed, cleared. And if you see an obstacle or you see something you don't like, don't beat yourself up for it, guys. It's there to be recognized and remedied or repaired or removed. Okay. And it doesn't mean you have to remove it that fast. Okay. Again, I'm going to go back to Tina Turner, because we have, I feel glad that I listened to her when I was a young woman. Because I watched her biopic in '93, and I was in my early 20s back then. And in her interview, she'd say the first 7 years I was just getting used to that life. Like, what was this I was in? And the second 7, I had the kids, and I had to think about, this whole big picture. And then I couldn't take it anymore, and I left. Sometimes we have to do things in stages, and I'm not ever saying stay in a bad situation. And it was very different in the 70s than it is today. It wasn't easy in the 90s, and it isn't easy now. Okay, because people don't always support us in our processes. And I'm not saying just about relationships or what have you. It could be a job, it could be in your business, it could be in your educational pursuits, it could be with family, it could be a whole lot of stuff with this full moon. But it's important to take a look at, okay, that's up on deck, and I need to do something about it. And that's something to see. And what is that process going to be? Okay, it's still processing. Sorry, guys. I even logged on early to upload that, so it's still doing it. Okay. I don't want to hold you guys forever while I'm waiting for this stupid screen share. I'll get the slides up for you. So we've got May 28th through June 3rd. The moon phases we're looking at. We're looking at the first quarter moon, okay, the gibbous moon, and the full moon. So we're in the first quarter today through the 31st. We're in the waxing gibbous phase, May 31st through June 3rd. And June 3rd through June 7th, the moon is full. Remember, when we give dates and you're like, wait, I thought it was 3.5 days. It is, because the moon phase will change on the 7th, right? So sometimes it'll look like a 4-day period, but it's not. Our calendars are just wonky. The sun remains in Gemini, and then we've got on the 28th right now, the sun is square Saturn. Jupiter is conjunct the North Node right now through the 1st. Okay. The 2nd, we have Venus trine Neptune. That's kind of a magical day, and that day is the day before the full moon. That Venus trine Neptune is pretty sweet. That's a good time to make a wish, lean into the impossible, lean into, your faith, what you really want, your desire, nature, those cozy, good feelings. I always say life can get better and better. Life can get better and better. It doesn't have to be a hard slog. The rest of it, I'm proof of that. I have never had a feathered nest. Everything I've ever had, I've earned and worked hard for, often against great odds. Okay, so it's been an adventure at the very least, right? Life can get better and better. And we can only go to the next best thing. I had a really good friend years ago who would, people would say, well, why does that person put up with that? And she'd look at me, she goes, you can only do the next best thing. If your life's always been hard, you don't know how to make it easy right away. You got to take it step by step. Virgo moon, she had a Virgo moon. And she'd be like, you can only do the next best thing. You can only make the next best decision. Okay. So don't beat yourselves up. It's a journey. We're walking up a mountain. So that Venus trine Neptune on the 2nd is a great time to just expect good things. Just expect it. I know something good is going to happen, but don't cage what's good. Don't put it in a cage. Okay. Don't put that canary in a cage. Let that canary fly, because you're going to be able to receive what you're able to receive. Okay. Okay. That's it. Don't blame yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Allow a blessing to come in. Okay. And sometimes blessings don't always look like blessings when they first show up. Okay. But understand that every situation is an opportunity to decide for the next best thing. Okay. It is a bumpy ride. We're living on this planet right now. It's always been kind of bumpy, but it's always a wee bit bumpy. And so we're in a time of change. It's just going to be bumpy for a while. And I promise we'll make it through. So the third is the full moon. Is it the 3rd or is it the 6th? Hang on. It's the 3rd, I thought. Yeah, it is. Sorry, my glasses are dirty. So it's at 13 degrees and 18 minutes of Sagittarius. This means it is part way through the process. I'm still waiting for the slides to process. I'm going to have to send them a note because it worked before. So the moon signs we're going to have active throughout the week. We have Virgo, the 26th through the 29th. May 29th, my mommy's birthday. The moon is in Libra through the 31st. And then Scorpio, the 31st through the 2nd. And then June 2nd through the 5th, we have the moon in Sagittarius. Now, it's going to be a little spicy. It's gonna be a little spicy. Not lying here. June's astrology is we're starting the month out with a full moon. Now that's going to continue each month this year. We've had the beginning of the month have a full moon that goes through August, and then August we get 2 full moons. We get one at the very beginning and one at the end, and then the end of the year these full moons will happen later in the month. We have Venus entering Leo on the 5th, and Venus is going to retrograde this summer. So Venus is going to be in Leo through September. So that should be interesting. I think we're going to see a lot of drama this summer. Some of it might be good. We might get some hot tea spilled. June 11th, the same day Mercury enters Gemini, we have Pluto entering Capricorn. For all of you late cardinal signs, me too. This is our cleanup time. We're cleaning up and we're looking at those things we were working on the first time that Pluto was in the late degrees of Capricorn. We're looking at what was like, yeah. So yeah, it's I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this because the minute it swings back into Capricorn, it's opposite my Sun and Mercury. And I'm like, oh man, the first time my brain felt like it was in concrete, but I don't think it's going to do that again. Usually when we have it slide back, it's not the same as the first run. Okay. There's elements of it, but it's not the same. So I know what I learned during that opposition, the first run in the beginning of the year, and it was I needed to change how I used my energy, right? Needed to change how I used my energy, So Yeah. Well, whether we can or can't, we're going through it. And when it comes to Pluto, sometimes we just have to let go because it's all about relinquishing control. Fun stuff, right? Fun stuff. Malcolm Reynolds, please. Thank you, buddy. Inside Barks. All right. So the 17th, Saturn stations retrograde. Remember, Saturn stations retrograde every year. This isn't rare. It's nothing new. Saturn does that. That should be interesting. I think we'll see probably a COVID spike during that time. I think it has been. I just think people will be more aware of it. No, we will not see lockdowns. They're not going to go back to lockdowns. June 18th. June 18th, the new moon is in Gemini square Neptune. That's a late degree moon in Gemini. So it is about, kind of on one hand, that Venus trine Neptune is a time to lean into our fantasies, but that new moon in Gemini is letting go of delusions. And, but it's also not about being grounded in reality either. Like, get a real job, kid. It's not that. It's about finding new realities. June, 19th, we also have Jupiter sextile Saturn retrograde. So we might see some innovations. That could be fun. Summer solstice is on June 21st, and that is when the sun moves into Cancer, the ingress. I think we'll do a patron party, a patron all-level party. We'll just on me, my big thank you to everybody. We'll do a patron party June 21st, maybe, or we'll find a date. I don't know what day of the week that is, but we'll do a solstice party where we set intentions and make our cards. I've done that in the past, and we'll do it again, and that'll be on me. That's my thanks to you for being patrons and putting up with me and my life through transits as well. June 28th, we have Mercury ingress into Cancer. June 30th, Neptune goes retrograde. Now, a lot of times, like in the last 10 years, what we've seen is retrogrades happening more towards summer. A lot of times, spring through fall into winter, we'll see the retrogrades. All the outer planets spend a good amount of their time retrograde. Again, this is not bad. It just is. And Neptune retrograde is when truth is revealed. So we could see some hot stuff this summer because July is kind of contentious. Not gonna lie, July is a really fiery month because the nodes are gonna move into Aries, square Pluto, and kabooms. And I think that's probably where we're gonna see some action against Donald Trump, for serious. And his followers are gonna be all freaked out by it. And then June 30th also we'll have the Sun Mercury Cazimi. We'll have the Sun Mercury Cazimi, which I don't know why Witch Talk and all these spiritual people make a big deal out of it. It's really not traditional. It's like when I was older, it really wasn't that big of a deal. You didn't, people didn't be like, oh, make a wish that day or set your intentions that day. I have a natal Kazimi. It can make you smart. It can also make you neurotic. I don't know. So I can be both. So like, I used to tell people, yeah, I'm a genius. I don't know that it helped me much. It did, but not always the way you'd think it would. My mom had me tested just like Sheldon Cooper's mom had him tested. But anyway, I say that with humor. But anywho, it's kind of a wild setup month. And so that Kazimi, you can do what you want with it. I don't understand. If you want to make it a magical thing, have at it. I'm all for magic, but magic is here. It's not in the tools. It's not in it's here. You could use all the tools and components you want. If you don't think it's going to work, it's not. It will have limited impact. Okay. So it's a great time to get your mind in order. I do think we might see some interesting transportation events that day from a mundane level. So, and by the way, mundane horoscopes will be up this week for the month. I have to write those first, so hold tight. Sometimes those don't always come out on the first. Let me check and see if this dang thing is done processing. Come on. I wonder, I'm going to check one thing. I wonder if I flatten it. I'm going to try to re-upload it in a little different way because it's like it is just not wanting to process these slides. I'm so bummed. Come on. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to remove it from the share. Sorry, guys. It's the software. Okay, I deleted it. We'll wait for the next one to download here. Let's try this. I flattened it, so hopefully I condensed the file a little bit. Let's see if this will work. All right, hopefully this will do it. Okay, I see it says processing file. Thank you. This might be working better. Fingers crossed. Okay. Again, tonight at 5:30 Pacific, we have the full moon workshop and guided meditation. Alrighty. Oops. Going back. Get to... All right. Aries rising, or if the moon is moving through your 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th house throughout the week. So on Monday, Tuesday, the moon is moving through that 6th house, or Aries rising. And this is your workaday life. You know, you might have to work on Monday. You might be thinking about your health too. Now, it doesn't mean anything bad is happening. Well, that's for the Virgo moon. Once the moon, that would be Sunday. So you might be working today. Monday, when the moon moves into Libra, the moon will be in the 7th house for Aries rising. And it is... it's all about how you're coming into agreement with other people. You might be busy with your very, very best friend in the world, or clients, or your partner, your life partner, somebody you're in a very committed relationship with. This isn't just like a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a them friend. This is somebody like you sign paperwork with. It could also be a contract gig. So that's kind of up on deck. There's not a lot of stress around that. It's just you might be busy with the honey-do list, etc. When the moon's in Scorpio, it'll be moving through for Aries rising, or through the 8th house. It'll be a quieter time. You might be looking at investments. You might be looking at your credit. You might be looking at joint accounts. You might be doing some research, but you also might be a little sensitive and have a little lower energy. You might feel the need to cave up a little bit. You might be a little peopled out. If you're a little sensitive, it's okay to tell people, hey, I need to go chill out for a while. If you have to deal with people, you might want to arrange like a nice quiet time in the evening for yourself. I gotta get those dates again. On May 31st through the 2nd. So the 2nd through the 5th, the moon will be moving through Sagittarius, and for Aries rising, or if you have Sagittarius in the ninth house, this is a very energetic energy as the moon enters. Um, as the moon enters Sagittarius, it's going to be making a trine with Mars. And so you may just be ready to blow off some steam. You may be working for the weekend this week, and you may just you might be tired. If you get that nap or you go to bed early while that moon is in the eighth house, you'll be ready to run. You might feel like taking a road trip, or maybe you're getting in some political arguments too. When the moon goes through the ninth house, we have a little bit of sass and a little bit of clapback. Ask yourself before you get into it with an internet troll, how much of your energy do you want to spend on it? Or even having arguments in your daily life with people who believe differently than you. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth the argument? It might be. If it is, then do it. But if it's just a way to distract you from your goals and your hopes and your aspirations, then, oh, there we go. I can do it now. Yay, we can share. All right, let's do this. Let's do this thing. Let me get it. Finally, I did need to flatten it. We learned a new thing. Oh my gosh, hang on. 1 second. I gotta be able to get, there we go. Look at that. We got it. We got it. We got it. That's exciting. So let me get, so that was Aries rising. So again, the moon will be in Virgo today, Sunday through Monday. The moon moves into Libra on Monday. It stays there till Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, the moon is in Scorpio. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the moon is in Sagittarius. So it switches into Sagittarius really, really late on this well, not really, really late, but evening time. Okay, so if you have an Aries rising, or if Virgo is in your sixth house, Libra's in your seventh house, Scorpio's in your eighth house, or and Sag in your ninth, you're working for the weekend, and you're probably going to have a pretty good weekend. Okay, probably have a pretty good weekend. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Oh, I feel so good now that we got the slides up. We problem solved. All right. Fifth house, or Taurus rising. If you've got a Taurus rising, or the moon in Virgo is moving through your fifth house, you're probably doing some of your favorite things over the weekend. You probably have special interests that you love to share with people. You probably, there we go. You probably have, my son has Virgo in the fifth, and he nerds out about stuff a lot. When he's into something, he knows absolutely everything about it and will tell you to the nth degree. So you're probably doing some of that, whether you're gaming or you're, even if you're at work, you're still having a good time with the moon in Virgo. So that's fifth house. You're feeling a little more creative. Sixth house, while the moon's in Libra, there's not a lot of stress to that moon. So you're probably just, again, workaday life, looking at your coworkers. Hopefully you've got a good shift and the people you like are on it. That's probably how those couple days are going to go while the moon is in Libra. And that'll be like Monday through Wednesday. And just the one thing to say is be careful with your back. Okay. Taurus rising, you could be a lot stronger than some other people, just naturally physically stronger, but you can ask for help. Okay. The only thing I see is a potential for some muscle strain. If you're getting back achy, it's okay to ask for help. Okay. You don't always have to be the strong person. You can ask for some help in that. I highly recommend, Bengay or Aspirin or something, and a back brace. If you're young, you can still tweak your back, so be careful. The moon moves into Scorpio Wednesday, stays there Wednesday, Thursday. And it'll be moving through your 7th house. I'm going to reiterate there might be some stress in some of those committed relationships or contractual agreements. And it's because you don't always ask for the in depth support you give other people. When you commit all the way. Are those people committed to you in the same way? You often are the listening ear for other people. People will just sit and tell you all, everything about them. They'll vent to you and what have you, and that becomes a lot for you. Do you have that same level of support coming back? Okay, that's really important to keep in mind. You might be a little cranky, because there's a lot going on in your first house. You've got Uranus, you've got Jupiter, maybe if you again, this is B if you have early Taurus rising. If you're mid to late Taurus rising, you don't have Jupiter there yet. But there's a lot going on for you, Taurus rising. So if you're not getting the support you need, this is something you might want to have a conversation around. And I'm not going to lie, if somebody isn't willing to hear that you have needs that need to be met, then you might want to renegotiate the contract. You might want to renegotiate your commitment, because just because you gave your word, if they're not making their word good, then it's not mutual and it's not fair. So we don't have to put up with bad situations or uncomfortable situations if it's not a two-way street. Now sometimes we have hurdles and bumps that we have to overcome. All right. 8th house. That's going to be where the full moon happens. And so you might have some illumination on a mystery. You might find a solution to a problem you've been trying to solve. You might get some deep insight into anything to do with shared finances, shared resources, the occult. Things that are hidden will be revealed. You might find out some secrets. Doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean it's a secret about a partner. It's just you could find out a family secret and you'd be like, oh, they did what with who, when? Oh, grandma. Could be something like that. But it could also be you have a deep insight into your own pathway. You could get some messages from your spirit team, or a dearly departed loved one. I think it's overall a fairly pleasant full moon. You might have trouble sleeping, okay? And this kind of goes for everybody, but you're going to be very energetically wired, or opposite, you could be really sleepy. Don't beat yourself up for that. Okay, that full moon again happens on the 3rd, but you'll be feeling it just ahead of the full moon, and then after the full moon. You want to do some self-care, maybe do some cleansing rituals. Not saying anything's wrong with you. It's just sometimes, like, if we become aware of something inside of us that we ourselves have been doing to hold ourselves back, you want to cleanse. Okay, that'll help release that. And that's good information for anybody having an 8th house transit this week, regardless of the sign. And again, I'm making some juicy little written things for you guys to kind of pair up with these. Almost done with them. They don't take me as long as the horoscopes did, but they're kind of, oh, you'll love them. Okay, you'll love them. It's not a calendar, but it's something for the week. So if you're a Gemini rising and the Virgo moon was moving through your 4th house, or is, because we still have the moon in Virgo as I do this live stream until tomorrow. And so it's a good day to stress clean. It's a good day to put the house in order, spend time with family. It's not too stressful. Yesterday was probably more so Saturday, because you had the moon in opposition to Saturn. But so it was a little, and with the sun square Jupiter, you're just dealing with some old stuff. You might be more aware of family patterns, things like that. Now, just because you're aware of them doesn't mean the rest of the family is going to be aware of them. So remember that. The moon will be moving through the 5th house when it's in Libra, maybe. So if you're Gemini rising or the moon moving through the 5th house, the moon hits Libra Monday and stays there till Wednesday. And you'll maybe be having a little bit more fun. You might feel really creative. The Libra moon transit's actually pretty nice, to be honest. I didn't see a ton of stress on that one. So it's kind of a last hurrah before Pluto moves back into Capricorn on June 11th. We get one nice Libra moon. So enjoy your creativity, kind of lean into that, feeling expressive, being a little more social. Again, too bad it's midweek, but enjoy it anyway. And then the moon moves through the 6th house while it's in Scorpio, and that happens between Wednesday and Friday. And so it's workaday stuff. Check, you might have to, if you have any doctor's appointments, those will go well. You might be frustrated with your schedule or wanting to transform your everyday, maybe you're working with clients, maybe you're working with in a transformative space, and you're maybe feeling some pressure around that. You're wanting to change things up a little bit. Um, you know, it's it's a time to pay attention to where the frustrations are in your day-to-day Gemini rising, or if you have Scorpio in the 6th house, because it's time to transform how you approach that part of life. If you're not feeling well, get checked out. I'm not saying you're going to have bad health. I'm just saying if you become, you're pretty body aware, you're pretty in tune with your body. If there's something that you've been kind of maybe run down or you're feeling tired, it might be a time to get that checked out. Okay. 7th house is where that full moon most likely is going to happen if you're a Gemini rising. Again, it depends on the degree of your rising sign, but if the Sagittarius moon is moving through that 7th house, and it will at some point between the 2nd and 5th, you may be having partnerships or agreements or commitments illuminated. Okay, now this doesn't mean you're going to find the love of your life, guys. Sorry. It means you're looking at how you're committing your time and energy and resources into relationship with important people. And so I'm going to say you may see where you might get a viewpoint of where some relationships are expansive and keep you interested, and where they're stagnant and not interesting. And that could go for clients. It could go for best friends. It could go for spouses or committed relationships. So like people you sign a lease with, people that you're on paper with, or people you are committed to on the inside with. So like my best friend is a 7th house relationship. Okay. Even though we're not romantic partners at all, we have each other's back as solid as if we were. Okay. That's a 7th house really when you commit fully and you're sharing your energy. But if you're not enlivened or expanding from those relationships, Gemini rising, you're going to see it, and you may decide to take a new route, or maybe amend how you share your energy with other people, your energy, your resources, your time. And again, you need relationships that help you grow. Okay, that's important. Same old isn't going to do it for you. All right, Cancer rising. Cancer rising. The Virgo moon is moving through that 3rd house. That would be yesterday, Saturday through Monday. And so you are taking a look at your communications. Yesterday might have been a little bumpier. You might have got schedules mixed up or communications mixed up, and it might have been a little frustrating. The rest of the time isn't too bad. You might be rethinking how you do things, how you communicate, or how you want to be communicated to. We never think about that too much, other than people say, you need to respect me. But what does respect mean? There might be a cultural difference. There might be a socioeconomic difference. Language is dependent on a lot of things. And so maybe you need to communicate how you need to be communicated with. Maybe you like bullet points. Maybe you like lists. Maybe you want very clear and concise direction. It's important to ask follow-up questions to make sure you're on the same page with people. The only thing I'd say is be careful driving or walking um, over the next day or so. People may not be paying attention. Fourth house is going to be with the moon in Libra. This one isn't too bad. This is a great time to maybe beautify your space, kind of create your little sanctuary. You probably don't feel like going to barbecues on Monday. You probably feel more like staying at home, relaxing, creating a pleasant environment. Maybe, whatever your favorite things to do at home, eat some snacks, maybe talk to some friends, but you might have somebody over, but you probably don't feel like going out. Fifth house is when the moon is in Scorpio, and that may be some tension forcing creativity. So if you've been trying to write or paint or draw or do things like that, then it's time to you're going to be pushed to be creative. You might feel a little blocked and have to blow through. You might become aware of some old super subconscious ideas happening. There's that, and you want to be working on that. Sixth house will be when the moon is in Sagittarius for Cancer rising, or if it's going through your sixth house. And so this could be, again, your workaday life. You might have a job offer with that full moon on the 3rd. You might actually be focusing on your health and getting more information about it. It doesn't mean you're sick, okay? It just doesn't. Um, you want to make sure that that your work life is really fulfilling you and stretching you and helping you grow. You want to feel a sense of satisfaction and maybe a little bit of mental adventure, if not actual adventure. You'll probably have some news around your workaday life over that weekend. And it might actually come on the Monday because we've got the 3rd and the 4th, and then it slides out of Sagittarius on Monday, the 5th. And you might get interesting news about something to do with work. Leo rising. Leo rising. We're looking at the moon in Virgo is in that second house. So you might have done some retail therapy maybe today, maybe earlier tomorrow. You might not have done it yesterday. Maybe you checked your bank accounts and you're like, damn it. Doesn't mean you're losing money. Just you're maybe more worried about the debt ceiling because it might impact 401ks or benefits or things like that. So, yeah. So the 3rd house will be with the moon in Libra. There's really not, again, a lot of stress with Libra. And so this one, I'm going to say always be careful driving. Don't be up in your head, but it's a little smoother sailing. I don't see too many stressors with transportation. I think it has more to do with it'll be a very communicative time, Leo rising, because you've got that tension up in your 10th house with all of the Taurus shenanigans going on. And that's kind of squaring off, like you're being pushed and pulled in different directions, what you want to do versus what other people want out of you, and understanding all of that is you. And so there just might be, you might get some new ideas about how to put that forth and put that out there. You've got Mars in, hopefully transiting your first house. If not, you will. And so it's a great time to put yourself out there and advocate for yourself. What I am going to say on the 4th, when the moon moves into Scorpio in your 4th house, stay out of office politics that day. Don't get in the drama. Don't be the drama. Stay away from it. I don't care what Susan said to Chad about your performance. If they are not in a decision-making capacity, just let it go. Let it go. Be the solution provider at work. okay? Because you probably want to stay home that day and you probably don't want to people, or if you work remotely, there might be this email chain that starts while the moon's in your fourth house or Scorpio, and just don't stir the pot, okay? Oh, I said your boss's name. That's funny. But don't stir the pot. Don't be part of that. Be the solution provider. So if people are bitching back and forth over email or on Teams or whatever, don't add into the bitching. Just wait for a minute and, give it a moment while they're all problem solving. Go do some research, find the solution, and then just say, hey, I don't know if you've considered this or not, but have you considered this option? um, or, oh, that paper you've been looking for, here it is. Be the solution provider, be the ass kisser. Do not get into it with people. Just do not. It's not going to go well for you. Okay. Even with Mars in the first house, you see what's going to happen is you want to defend yourself super hard. You don't need to. Just, you don't need to defend yourself. Okay. You just don't. What you need to do is just show up as yourself, okay, and show the solutions. But getting into it and being like, oh yeah, well, I don't care what they said because I heard this about what they said about you. Getting into that, oh my god, that's a nightmare. Don't do it. And you are working for the weekend as well, as the moon in Sagittarius hits that fifth house. You're going to be very creative. You're going to have a good time. You're probably going to get invited out by friends. You've earned this fun. It's been crunchy dunchy. Enjoy some good music. You might want to go like find some music in the park, or have some fun next weekend, right? Things will be a little quieter next weekend compared to this. I don't know. I don't think this is a super active Memorial Day weekend time, but I think you're gonna have so much fun. You like my Leo impressions? I grew up with a lot of Leo energy around me. I felt like an alien growing up because the household I grew up in had so much. And it's always very funny for me as a Scorpio rising to sit back and watch my Leo rising mother and my Leo rising Aries brother. She's a Gemini. And then my Leo dad. Oh my God. And I just sit back, the Scorpio rising Cancer, going, okay, you guys go do your thing. I'm just gonna be here. So it's super funny. They'd always tell me, lighten up. And be like, yeah, okay. Super fun. What the heck? Oh, there we are. Oh, weird. It changes the view on me. That's why. Okay. Anywho, Virgo rising. Or if the moon in Virgo is in the first house, you might have some energy. But with Mars kind of dragging your 12th house, it's probably a little frustrating right now. Whenever Mars is transiting our 12th house, we're kind of having to wait. We're kind of having to strategize, and we're chomping at the bit to get stuff done. We're chomping at the bit to get rolling, and we feel held back, and we feel maybe like we might be inspired, but we can't get the traction we're hoping to get. And it can be really frustrated, especially since you're such a master planner, Virgo rising. So when the moon hits your first house, you'll at least have a little bit more energy and not feel as bummed. It just can feel kind of 12th house can be a real quiet space, and it can be a real spiritual space, but it can also be kind of a crunchy space when we have a 12th house lunar transit, when the moon's going through there. So you'll finally have a little bit of energy back over the next couple of days. And then the moon is going to hit your second house, and you love a little bit of retail therapy. I know you do, Virgo rising. You got Libra in that second house. And so careful with the spending, but you also might find a little gift coming your way. There's not a lot of stress happening in that house, and so it's not so much about finding extra money, but it's finding extra self-worth. You do know your value, but that might be recognized, or you might make something happen out of your natural resourcefulness, and something might show up to your benefit that over, Monday and Tuesday into early Wednesday. And then the third house, Scorpio, is going to be, Wednesday through Friday. You'll have Scorpio moon moving through that third house, Virgo rising. Okay, you got a mouth on you, and I know you do because I raised one of you. All right. Especially those with Pluto and Scorpio in that third house. Holy shit. It's not what you say, it's the energy behind it. It's like daggers, man. Even if you're saying something nice, if you're mad, it just comes, it'll slide through energetically. Um, be careful walking and driving. You've probably already had some near misses with all the energy in Taurus in that ninth house. So be careful whether you're taking a walk and you're a pedestrian or you're driving. Be careful. This is a time where other people are not going to be doing their thing. Now, you're also highly resilient and very observant, so you should be fine. This is not the time to get into arguments. I know you love a good argument. Everybody gives Sagittarius energy a hard time about arguing, but really, Virgo rising, come on, please be honest. You live for it. And and maybe you grew up in an argumentative household and you had to. This isn't really a good time for it. You're not going to be on the winning side of that battle. It's better to just kind of gather your information, gather your blackmail information, and hold it for later. And I say that with humor. It is not a to do. Okay. I'm all right. So just so you know, you're making yourself do nothing today. It's the only day semi possible. That's a good idea. Rest while you got it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, okay, every Virgo rising says that, Jennifer. Every single one said, "I didn't start it." Bullshit. 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 No. It'll oh, no. No. I most of the time I'll agree, but there's times there is times where you'd be like, "What? I didn't start anything." You can give those doe eyes all you want. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it. Don't worry, I'm good at starting arguments. I'm a Scorpio rising. I can stir that pot really good. Um, but yeah. That I didn't start it. Right. I didn't start it. So, all right, Libra rising. Probably today is not your favorite day. Tomorrow, things lighten up a little bit once the moon moves into Libra. It's probably a quieter time, a contemplative time, and it might be a little crunchy, and you might be in review. You might be thinking about how you want things to go. Lean into your connection with nature. You have a great connection with nature. If you have a special fur baby or somebody else's fur baby, it's a good time to connect to animals. Get your feet in the ground, in the earth, if you can, if you've got good weather for it. Yeah. So but Monday, Tuesday, early Wednesday, it's actually really pleasant and it's really nice for you, Libra rising. You're really starting to feel good about things and yourself, and there's not a lot of pressure on you. And so just go be your social self and just kind of enjoy the time right now. Things are just feeling kind of good. If you're out and about, if you're working Monday through Wednesday, or you're going around seeing people, it's just going to feel much lighter and better than it has for a while. There's not a ton of stress happening there. And then the moon moves into Scorpio. Um and then the moon moves into Scorpio, and it's in the second house. And so there might be, Jennifer, there might be a surprise bill coming up. Oh no, a birdie massacre. Oh no. So there might be some surprise bills that show up while the moon is in Scorpio, or you might actually have surprise money coming to you. It doesn't mean it's not. You've been reworking your ideas around what it means to have money and what it means to work for it or receive it, what it means to have support or feel supported or support yourself, not just money, lots of things. Don't let what you've got or who you have around you define you. Okay. You've got to build your own sense of wonder and solid foundation of self and your worth for yourself. So, oh, that Libra raising, what will the neighbors think? Are they judging the fur babies? And the nightmare of that inside of you. Be easy on yourself because animals do stuff like that sometimes. Third house, that full moon is in your third house. You'll probably get some communication. That's very interesting. It's not necessarily bad. You could be invigorated. It's a great day to take a walk around the neighborhood. It's a great time for you to you might want to be careful driving, but the full moon happens on the 3rd in the evening around 8:40 p.m. Pacific. So it's a late, it'll be late if you're on the East Coast. So yeah, if you're out and about on Saturday the 3rd, be careful driving. Okay. Otherwise, you probably just feel really inspired. You might get new ideas. You might get feel like writing if you've had writer's block, all of that. So your trans daughter is a Libra rising. I love that. Yeah. So overall, it's not too bad of a week. Again, that full moon is in the 3rd house. So maybe having ideas about how to speak your truth or communicating in ways that help you reach your goals is a good one with that moon at 13 degrees. Let's see. Moving up next. All right, Scorpio rising or the moon moving through the 11th house. If you've got Virgo there, it's all about community. I can attest to that. It's all about community, maybe collaborations, cooperation, being inspired, getting epiphanies, kind of community organizing, things like that. And maybe looking at stuff online, deciding like if you have social media strategies as a Scorpio rising, this would be a time to be looking at that. If you're Scorpio rising with Libra in the 12th house, it might be a quieter time for you. It's not a peopling time for you. You're probably kind of peopled out if you've been kind of running through it because you've got a lot of the Taurus action in that 7th house with all the planets going on. It's probably a lot. You're probably more than peopled out and you just kind of want to stay home and cave. If you can, Monday through Wednesday. If you can't, then limit your necessities for communicating like face to face and do a little bit of self-care in that respect. Or if you have to people, and I feel you on that. If you have to people, it doesn't even mean you don't like people, but sometimes you just get peopled out, right? Make sure you have your tub and your Epsom salts, a little bit of a nice frou-frou essential oil or something to help soothe away the aches or the energy and maybe do some intuitive work or intuitive artwork while the moon's moving through the 12th house. You work retail. Have fun with that, Gabby. Um, my heart goes out to you. I have done that. Yeah. Then once the moon moves into Scorpio on Wednesday through Friday, it's actually not too bad. You're feeling more energized. You're kind of in your milieu. Yeah, there's some tension between obligation and fulfilling yourself. But honestly, it's not going to be too bad if you can blend that energy. You might have a good time or discussion with a partner or somebody that you really care about. It's not really a ton of stress. especially now that Mars is kind of moving out of that square with Jupiter, because that was a lot. It was a lot. And then the full moon happens in the second house, and that's actually pretty damn good. Mars is, or not Mars, while the moon is in Sagittarius, um, that's actually pretty good because you've got Mars moving through your 10th, conceivably. And so that moon, you might get a raise, you might get a bonus, you might hit a target, you might increase your reputation. If you're, working for yourself, you might get a new client or you might go viral. This is good timing for you, even with the opposition from the Taurus energy. It's still good, for you. The opposition to your Scorpio first house from Taurus. But the second house, you may have a new income stream revealed, or you might make a deal. You might make a deal. So if you've been working on deals or negotiations, or you might be spending some money, but it leads to something else down the line. So you might be, it might be an investment that you're doing. You might be closing a deal or something. So I'm laying odds that I'm working on a thing with my daughter, and I'm like, I bet it happens with that full moon energy. So Sagittarius, Virgo, 10th house with that moon moving through it. So you're kind of looking, people are looking your direction, whether you like it or not. You might be asked to help out, or you might be wondering about your reputation. Over the weekend, you just might be popular. If you do social media, this is a good time. Just get up, be organic, be your regular self, and you might have videos do a little better than normal. When the moon moves into Libra, that's the 11th house, you're going to be collaborating with people Monday through Wednesday. You might be out and about in your community or have community members reach out to you. You're starting to get a little bit more attention than you've had in a while, and you're kind of like, what's up? What's up with that? The 12th house, is when Scorpio is going through the Scorpio moon through the 12th house. Okay, it's really easy to kind of get sucked into the cave, sucked into the dark, sucked into the coulda, woulda, shoulda, sucked into the past or the losses that we've had, and it's important to lean into the gifts. Where's the treasure in that? What did you gain? From the experiences instead of what did you lose? Because we gain as much as we lose in any situation. It's never single-sided. And I'm not telling you to deny your feelings, but be really careful. It's kind of easy to get caught in the undertow. You might be, in fact, if you lean into what you gained, you might actually feel inspired and connected to your source self and see some magic happen, getting you ready for that full moon. You're probably also releasing some old subconscious patterns ahead of that full moon on the on the 3rd, so that you can receive this really cool sense of self. There might be something starting for you. You might get noticed in a way you haven't noticed in a while. This is this kind of glow up energy. It's kind of glow up energy. Let go of your insecurities and then just show up, right? Oof, I just got chills. That's fun. If you're a Capricorn rising, I still love my little sea goat. I made it myself. If you're a Capricorn rising or the moon is moving through, as it's in Virgo, moving through the 9th house, you might be dealing with the end of a legal matter, or you might be dealing with legal matters. If you have legal matter, nothing new is starting up, but if you've been dealing with a legal matter, that's up. Or you might be winding up an educational matter. This is that time of year for graduations. If you have a business, you might be working on a project. This ninth house, it's all about production. So you're probably not just kicking back and having fun over Memorial Day weekend. You're probably like getting shit done. How surprising, Capricorn rising. Um, Now, while the moon is in Libra, this is a great time for you. And that'll be Monday through Wednesday. This is a great time for you to kind of push forward. If you own a business or in your career, you're very noticeable. Your reputation is up. There's not a lot of challenge to that right now. Um, so you're probably going to reap some rewards of some hard work you've put in. If you've been doing the work, then people are going to want you on their team. And one of the ways you really negotiate well is by getting people all on the same page. You use a lot of collective language like we, and to get people into agreement. You won't say you do this, I do this. You'll say we. And you kind of rope people in. It's a remarkable ability. I'm often fascinated by it when I observe Capricorn risings do that. And then while the moon is in Scorpio, it's moving through that 11th house. You've had a lot of challenges in your professional networks lately. People who you thought were friends or on the same page have not necessarily been the steady eddies you like, but you are good at making powerful friends. So there might be some people starting to shed off because of what happened with that Scorpio full moon last month in May. Um, Maybe some of those relationships are starting to scatter off or get out while powerful friends are coming in, or new powerful friends. And when I say powerful, these are people who understand power. They might be quiet, they may not be well known, but they're actually experts in their field, or they're really good at what they do. And you tend to collect people like that in your life. And then Sagittarius full moon is in your 12th house. Now, this doesn't have to be super crunchy. It might be, because it's going to illuminate some information that shows where you're holding yourself back. Now, if you've been projecting onto other people, if you've been blaming other people for not doing what they need to do so you can do what you need to do, you need to take account of what role you've played in that. And I'm not saying you've deserved anything that's happened at all, but sometimes, like when we're like, oh my God, that person steamrollered my boundaries, or this person isn't listening to me, we still have choices to make in how we entertain that. So if somebody repeatedly isn't listening, or repeatedly isn't pulling their weight, or repeatedly is making your life more difficult, um, constantly re-engaging with that person is still a choice, instead of like, do I actually need this person? Do I need their help? How much do I, is that relationship helping me meet my objectives? And if you're honest about it, and honesty is the policy right now with that full moon in Sag, you might want to take honest account of what they've actually done. They may have done a great deal that you're not recognizing. All right. Maybe they haven't brought hard, cold cash to the table, but maybe they've been a pillar of strength, or a listening ear, or maybe they've contributed a lot more to the day to day than you've granted them credit for. You probably need to release any old wounds around uh just old stuff you grew up with, because if you're projecting your issues onto somebody that matters to you, it's probably not helping that relationship, whether it's a friend, a business partner, a work person, and it's probably in impacting your own health as well. So it's important to release release some delusions and embrace the truth. And you don't have to beat yourself up for that. You can be kind to yourself and do that. Aquarius rising and the moon in Virgo. Aquarius rising, you're probably kind of tired over the next couple of days. You might have been dealing with some stuff that wasn't the most fun, and I want to remind you that, we only grieve as deep as we love. And our physical life truly is an illusion, but it's an illusion we live with. And so if we face some losses, and then the losses could be anything from financial to kitties and puppies and birds, and it just depends. It could be family. We might be missing past loved ones. um just understand that we live in this illusion, this physical reality, but energy neither can be created nor destroyed, and we can find comfort in that. Counting your losses doesn't always make you feel better. So you might want to say, look at how these relationships transformed you or made you a better person and find the magic in that. Otherwise, and if it's none of that, you just might need a nap. You just might be lower energy. If the moon is moving through your ninth house while it's in Libra, that's Monday through Wednesday, then you're probably looking for a little bit of adventure. You might be wanting to get together with some friends, maybe play some games, create something. Maybe you're looking at publishing something, working on a website, working on a class, creating something interesting, or reading new books, getting new books, learning, signing up for a class or teaching a class. You might even be traveling that day, those couple of days. That's actually not bad. There's not really a whole lot of stress with that Libra moon that I'm seeing in the charts. While the moon's in Scorpio, you're up front and center, and with it in the 10th house, you are seen as a transformational person. You're seen as a change agent. There might be some family drama. There might be a push and a pull between your outer world and your inner world. You might see where there's some family patterns that need to be transformed. There is that. And then we have the 11th house with the moon in Sagittarius. There might be some new professional networks, avenues, or routes show up with the full moon in Sagittarius. You might be invited to help in your community. You might be mentoring, or you might even find a mentor. Or be asked to teach something in your community while the moon is in Sagittarius, the 3rd or 2nd through the 5th. And that full moon is illuminating some amazing collaborative spaces. And last but not least, Pisces. Pisces rising. With the moon in Virgo, that's highlighting your 7th house. And so, you're dealing with partnership issues, you're dealing with contracts, you're dealing with business partnership issues, you're dealing with issues of all kinds. You've got Saturn in Pisces right now. And so it's all about being your own authority, owning your own authority, not kind of putting responsibility onto the other people, but rather owning your side of the story, owning your life too, just realizing that other people aren't really there to tell you what to do, but you're supposed to own your own path, your own, and sometimes that means you have to go your own way too. And so yesterday might have been a little frustrating, but things smooth out. You get a real benefit from that Venus trine Neptune that I talked about earlier. Those slides will be up for you in the Patreon, so don't worry about it. Well, you don't have to remember it now. But anyway, things kind of ease out over Sunday and Monday, and then you're really probably tired Monday through Wednesday. You've got a lot to do. You've got endings and beginnings happening. And I'm not saying your relationships are going away. I'm just saying there's starts and stops to new things. You're doing some research. You're probably feeling a little crunchy, a little emotionally sensitive while the moon is in Libra in the 8th. You might be dealing with old stuff coming up. Now, the 8th house is our psychology, in so much as we know we have to go to therapy for it. It's all the issues we know about versus the 12th house, which is the subconscious that we're not always as aware of. It might be a time where you're feeling, maybe you too are counting your losses or having to say goodbye to something or someone, and just might, and there's a bittersweetness to it with it in Libra. As the moon moves into Scorpio on Wednesday through Friday, you're on an adventure. You're on an adventure. This is a mental adventure. You're also starting to really transform your ideas and ideals around things. It's been a little crunchy. Communicating has not been the funnest thing on the planet throughout May. And you're still having to deal with some of that, but things are getting better and easier. Um, but you may actually be getting ready for some big travel, maybe a road trip, maybe a move, those types of things with the moon moving through the ninth house. You're definitely looking at production of all kinds, publishing, speaking, theater production, transformative works that you're putting out in the world, all kinds of different things. And then 10th house, you are seen, you are heard, you are recognized with the moon in Sagittarius, the 2nd through the 5th. That full moon's happening in your 10th house, and it is illuminating your passions. It's really putting things into perspective. It's really making you show up in a new way. And it's a great time if you're doing social media to put it out there. Pisces rising, if the full moon of Sagittarius in at 13 degrees is in that 10th house, you will be seen, you will be heard, and you're getting some kudos, you're getting some recognition, and your avocation, I hate to say career, but your avocation, your passion, what you're here to, your calling in this world is up on deck, and that rings out. So you're about to go to, you're not necessarily changing anything, but you're going to another level. We did it. Okay, we did it, Joe. That's our joke in the mod squad. We did it. We did it, Joe. That is your horoscopes for the week. Not bad. Trying to keep the time down. I want to thank you all for joining. Thank you to those of you who do the timestamps for me. I really, really appreciate it. My eyeballs appreciate it. And that helps us get the chapters in faster. You guys will get your new surprise after I get this up. And I'll probably get it up a little bit later. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you for your support. Love you so much. Take care. See the rest of you at the full moon ceremony in about 2.5 hours.